Before it hit the floor, the glass slid out of my grasp. Nobody took notice. There was too much laughter. My face was mostly obscured by the shadows as I stood close to the cake table in the back. I've always enjoyed things edges. Fewer expectations. Less exposure, but I wasn't hiding tonight. I was doing some math. The music had been broken by the bride's voice. His sibling? Yes, he is merely a pitiful single parent. After a pause, my brother burst out laughing. Noisy, harsh, and recognizable. He resembles a cheap model with a scuffed label. They let out a howl. My jaw remained fixed. I observed those who claimed to care about me. Observed their nasty satisfaction as their mouths twisted. Observed them making fun of the man who kept his son quiet during custody disputes, birthday mornings by himself, and operations. I felt something was about to happen when I noticed my son standing close to the stage, staring at the bride and motionless. I simply had no idea how noisy it would be. 3 months ago, it began, a message on someone else's phone. Even though my brother didn't deserve the gift I had gone to deliver, I nonetheless gave it to him. He wasn't at home. It was his fiancée. She extended an offer of coffee. I said no. However, her phone lit up as soon as she exited the room. I looked even though I shouldn't have. Tell me that the messages were erased. His suspicions are growing. They didn't save the number. There was panic in the tone. My stomach twisted for some reason. Just enough to raise a question I couldn't ignore, but not a complete turn. I was awake that night as my son breathed quietly next to me. I counted the cracks as I gazed at the ceiling. Every time my brother had to cancel plans, every unexpected travel, and every awkward quiet when I walked into a room, I thought about it. Recalled how the bride avoided making eye contact with me and how my son had questioned, "Why does Uncle Rick always give her a hug when you're not looking?" I was unwilling to accept it, thus I didn't, not quite yet. Suspicion is a silent phenomenon. It doesn't yell. One detail at a time it seeps. My brother's old phone was my first choice. He is reckless. It has always been. I used it to make a business call. I then looked at the pictures. She was there. Not just in group photos, but also in hotel rooms, dressed in attire that is inappropriate for a bride to wear. Before to a wedding, unless she is posing for an inappropriate person. I printed the pictures. Just enough of them, not all. Then for proof not retaliation, I engaged a professional, the type that never fades. 2 weeks passed, 2 hotel stays were made, and a covert DNA test was conducted while my brother used my bathroom. The toothbrush sealed after swabbing. It was not to establish his paternity. I was aware that he wasn't. Since the lab had the record of someone ordering the same test 6 months prior, I just needed to confirm one thing they suspected he may be. The report arrived in a thick, unmarked black package. Timelines, pictures, messages, and a DNA request form signed by the bride under a fictitious name were all included. However, the penmanship was identical to one of the birthday cards she gave me. There was only panic, not paternity confusion. She had persuaded him that she was only ever unfaithful to him and that I could want to destroy her because I was envious. Everything was recorded. She and I met in a coffee shop. Neutral territory? Just one question? No charges? "Are you in love with him?" She winced, then gave a hurried nod. Without saying anything, I put the envelope on the table and walked away. She didn't come after me. She didn't have to. The atmosphere during the wedding was filled with rot, champagne, and music. As they chuckled, I remained motionless. My youngster interrupted. I didn't. He approached the stage's stairs as though he were about to perform a poetry, standing steadily. And slowly, the mic was pulled by his tiny hand. They handed it to him as though it were a joke. Silence dropped like a sword after he said, "I know something about the bride. Uncle Rick has been deceived by her." Uncertain people laughed, but he went on. She gave him numerous kisses prior to the wedding. In the car, I noticed them. The bride lost her smile. My brother's eyes darkened. She informed him that because I resemble my dad too much, she didn't want me around. I took steady, careful steps forward. She yelled, "Enough," and hurried over. To him, however, it was already finished. I gave the envelope to my brother. His hands shook. He read it after opening it. The hue faded. She attempted to seize it. He took a step back, and from the inside the room saw their idyllic world crumble. Taking my son's hand, I left. He didn't follow us around. She didn't either. Cowards almost never flee the fire they started. My son asked, was I bad for saying it? In the car. I peered into the mirror at him. Those eyes too old for 9. No, I replied. You told the truth, and truth is the most violent thing you can throw in a room full of liars. We drove in silence because everything that needed to be said had already been spoken, not because there was nothing more to say. The envelope that hit the floor behind us, unopened by some and burned into others, was the final sound. Neither he nor I ever turned around.